I don't look like the typical person that suffers and that's suffered hard. Like, it's fucking graft. I'm coming into a low, like the battle is on, like let's go. Like, medication is what enables me to be able to be a better dad, a son, if that's the case. And it gives me some form of like, it gives me a better quality life. And suicide consumed my life. I thought about it every single moment I woke up until I go to bed. I'd be driving my car and I'd like go past a tree and I'd be like, hang myself there. It just takes a complete hold of you. So I just describe it as like a completely separate like entity itself. Basically, what I didn't realise, because I was classed as a high risk, that whenever somebody like phoned me, obviously it answered, it flagged up, and then they were able to like track me down. But when it pulled me over, you know, he looked in like the footwell and was just like, "Are you Dean?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Come on, mate." And then I just sat by the side of the road, just against my car, just fucking crying. Being told I had bipolar at the time, I felt like I was the only person that had it. And I felt like I had something I had no idea about.
Right.
So the only way that I can figure it out is by going to learn.
Welcome, Dean. How are you feeling today?
We're good today.
Yeah,
we're good.
We're good today.
Yeah, we had a bit of a sketchy one like a few weeks back, so all right, we're good today.
Okay, well, I'm honoured and I'm glad that you're here. We've not met before, have we? But we've been chatting outside, and we've got a few things in common anyway.
Yeah.
So the reason why I've invited you to come onto my podcast is because I've seen your sort of social media, online presence. You talk a lot openly about mental health.
Yeah.
So if my listeners don't know anything about you, they've never seen your social media, tell us a bit about who you are.
How far back?
Well, what's relevant? We've got an hour, so if we have to do a part two, we can.
So, obviously, it's obvious if you have seen us on social media. My background's military, so I was in the armed forces. I was in the army for best part of 8 years.
Wow.
I left a long time ago. I left when the London Olympics kicked in, so that puts it in perspective for time. Well, 2012. So
right.
I officially left in 2013. Went straight into like the fitness space. Your typical like boot camp,
right?
British military fitness, shouting at people in fields, getting them muddy, and then I stayed within that space for a while. Then progressed kind of through, built up businesses around it, and then kind of went solo. And then during that time was probably when like the mental health like broke down.
Okay.
During that period of time. Between then and now, obviously we're diving down, but I had that like period of time of like going through the recovery stages and everything else. Worked within the prison service, which we spoke about outside.
Yeah.
That was an eye opener.
Absolutely.
That's So that's a period of time I don't think I'll ever forget.
Yeah. How long were you in there for?
Not long.
And already you can remember like, so much about it. It's mad.
Yeah, like I didn't even finish like my poet.
Yeah.
Like, they call it poet, don't they? This when you first join. I didn't even finish that. I literally just like walked out. It weren't right for me and everything else that was going on inside there. But like it is not fit for someone that's got bipolar and PTSD. But I'm always trying to push things to like I won't ever have it as like a label for limiting. Like it's just that kind. That's like one of the many like mantras, if you want to call it that. As it's like I will still test something even with what goes on with me. Prison service definitely wasn't it. Mm-hmm. But I was open with that, and I worked as a commercial electrician for some time. Yeah.
So did you already have the trade before?
No. So. I've got this all or nothing attitude that also like it also works very well with like bipolar sometimes, especially with manic. And I literally had like no background, and then I just studied like night school after. I'd work like all day, worked myself into the ground, work all day, go to night school. And actually during that time I was probably the most unwell that I wasn't, but it was just like constantly go. And then that all came to a massive head. Like everything built up. I had one of the worst episodes that I had in a long time. And then it brought me back into the fitness space. Ultimately like working online. And that works well because I can't always be like the face of something. Like that's just the reality of what we live. I live alongside with. I don't like to say it as like my bipolar or my anxiety, because all of a sudden I feel like I give it an identity, but it's like I live alongside it and I have to do what I can to make it work.
Yeah.
And the online space for me now enables me to do that, because I can create systems in place that enable me to be able to work and function. Like I don't want to be in a position where I'm not working.
Okay.
And there is, as much as I say there's like labels for limiting, but there is a limit to what people can do with bipolar. 100%, of course there is. It comes at a risk. So the online space now for me is something that I'm deeply passionate about, which is with fitness and training. It surrounds the mental health. And I get to do something that I'm so deeply passionate about, and that's training and coaching people. So I've done like a full circle within many years, and then within that circle, just some crazy stuff's gone on.
Well, you've been through a lot, and then some.
Yeah, it's been a wild one.
So the online space that you're working in now, you're basically sharing that you've found yourself a career that you're deeply passionate about and you care about, but it also suits you. So are you saying that, say if you are struggling a bit more, you can still work because the online space allows you to maybe create reels, keep in contact with your clients without being sort of like front facing? Is that what you're saying?
100%. That's a big part of it. And also a lot of it's built around systems. And I went with a mentor the start of the year from a mentorship called the Optimized Coach. And it's completely and utterly like changed my life.
Wow.
Because it's like, they're like, collectively, everybody that's part of it, they're like another voice. And then also, because when you're struggling with your mental health, you think everything's so isolating. You also hear actually it's other coaches having similar struggles, and it's not actually your mental health. So there's loads of little factors, but also it's just creating systems in place. Like I don't always get to be like on form, but because I can pre-make content when I'm good, do you know what? I'll be like completely honest. It's also, as much as I'm so authentic online, what I like to think I am, I talk openly about the mental health and everything else. It enables you to be able to also put on a performance, to be able to function and take away the stress, if that makes sense. Like I can preload my content, which takes away stress. Like I can work hours that are gonna push the business forward. And then as long as I'm hitting those non-negotiables, that's good. And actually, it's a lot less on some days than actually needs to happen to push the business forward. So yeah, the online space has been like an absolute game changer. It takes away the pressure of a lot of things, and everything in place, just the systems of how I can manage clients and how I can get them to where they want to be, to their next level of fitness. I'm able to do it so well because of the way that the business operates now, what we've built up, like the infrastructure. And for me, that just goes to show that there is something out there for people that do have things like bipolar, because I do get the struggles. Like for me, one of my biggest struggles would be going to work. Like I'm like a hard worker. Like I graft, but the problem is that the effort and the energy was going into the wrong thing.
Right.
And then ultimately that wrong thing was just end up being a negative for me. Like working on a site all day long isn't ideal for somebody with bipolar and also struggles with PTSD. It's not the place for people to be like that. Like dependent on severities, obviously, with people that they have, but it's just not the right environment mentally for somebody like that. Like I've lived it. Same as the prison service. The prison service was not the right environment for somebody that's got someone like me that's got the bipolar and the PTSD. It's just not the environment where the online coaching space, it enables me to do what I do passionately, which is purpose, which is so important for your mental health. But ultimately, I don't have to necessarily be somewhere at a specific time. Yeah. Like, and what you see I can give myself days grace of work if I need it by just having things in place. Like all my clients are programmed to like an exceptional level. Like I'm very good at what I do. Like I have a month's worth of content, which content is the staple of what we do online.
Yeah.
So I have all the non-negotiables there, and then I have like an incredible team around me as part of like the mentorship group that like, no, this is what you can do now. This is what you need to do now, and everything else. And it's like a big team.
Yeah.
And it like enables me to be able to function a bit better, a lot better, not a bit, a lot better.
So some of the struggles which you've touched on a little bit, but you're also open about on your social media. Yeah. I think it makes you, well, it's the reason why I reached out to you. So it makes you relatable. But talk to me about bipolar then. So when did you get diagnosed? How's it impacted you living alongside it?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed. My diagnosis is madness. I was diagnosed after my last hospital stay. Like I literally I was at my mum and dad's. I just come out of hospital and I was under the crisis team and I was in depression. But within like a moment, I was like, bang, up, bounce, gone. Like get ready. On my way to work, everyone was just like, "What the hell's happening today?" Okay. I also like went flying into like my crisis team meeting, and they're all like, whoa, what has gone on here? Like he's only literally just come out of the hospital after like trying to take his life.
And do you remember that?
Like, I didn't realise it was a hypomanic episode or manic episode. It's like remembering a movie. Like I know, and I have that a lot with hypomania. It's like it does feel a little bit like a movie sometimes. I probably never actually articulated it like that because no one's ever asked that question. Like, do you remember it? But I knew it. I know it's happened.
Right.
But it's very weird. Like it's very weird feeling to know that I went from being handed my medication daily because I was such a high risk to then within seconds, like no one could just stop me. Like I was just off on one. I was like, it got quite bad, and that was when I was diagnosed. And then my diagnosis was literally sat like this. I had like my nurse there, then the psychiatrist, and he was like, "Look, we think you got bipolar," and then it was just left like that. Give me some leaflets. I'll go give me some leaflets.
Had you heard of it? Did you know what it was? Had you heard of it before? Or?
So I had, but the thing about bipolar is it's always been perceived as something bad. And I've always said this. I said this like every time somebody asks me that question. Like I only like experience with bipolar was Stacey's mum from EastEnders.
Okay.
Like that's absolutely like literally it. Or I could have come across it in other programs or TVs or the news, but I never paid attention to it because I never knew that I would end up having it myself or actually having it at the time. So that's like my own experience of it. So I feel like what they give you, I don't know if it's any different now, but this was like 2017, 18. Like, it's always just the same categoric system like in place of it's like if you're hypomanic you feel like this, like if you're depressed you feel like this, and it's like I totally get it, that's bipolar, but there's so much involved that the doctors don't tell you. Like didn't tell you about black and white thinking, didn't tell you about like the anxiety, didn't tell you about how like the fatigue kicks in on depression. Doesn't take like there's so much. It was just when you're hypomanic you have energy like higher energy levels, and when you're depressed you'll feel tired, and that's all there was.
There was no in between in the
There's
middle.
no in between, and so for me it's like I had to go out my way and learn, which I think is like one of like the core pillars to or like part of like that foundation that I strongly believe people will live a more stable life with something like bipolar is you've got to go and learn. Right. You've got to go out your way and learn, because nobody will hand it to you, and you'll only get given the clinical stuff. But ultimately, the way that I learnt the best was by listening to people's lived experiences, right. which I'm such a believer about, and it's what I do. It's like being told I had bipolar at the time, I felt like I was the only person that had it. And I felt like I had something I had no idea about.
Right.
So the only way that I can figure it out is by going to learn and to go out my way. But at first it was just clinical stuff. Like, so what is hypomania? Well, hypomania is this. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, I feel a bit like that sometimes. What's depression? Well, depression's like this. But there was nothing else. And that's where it became like just my mission to just learn as much as I can about bipolar. And then the more you learn about it, I kind of look at those leaflets now and I'm like, it doesn't really do it much justice.
Yeah.
Doesn't really explain bipolar well. It's kind of like a little bit of a, like, let's just chuck that to them and that's what it is. That's what I felt like at the time anyway.
Well, I think that is a great explanation in terms of your own experience, because I've had clients myself with bipolar, and I've had people on this podcast talking about bipolar. And what I've learned, and please correct me if this is wrong from like your perspective, but it affects everybody differently.
100%.
So those clinicians that are going, oh, you've got bipolar, so you fit in this box here, Dean.
Yeah.
Here's a leaflet that's going to not only hopefully support you, but everybody else that deals with bipolar in a different way.
Yeah.
It's not going to work, is it?
No, and everybody is different. And that's like a great way of looking at it, because it's like, there's so many things that happen with bipolar that people just are not aware of. Like, there isn't many days where I'm not affected by it in one way or another. But then also you're trying to figure out, is it bipolar or is it just everyday life?
Yeah.
Like, is that the thought process? So obviously there is some overlaps, but no one told me about like excessive dating, which was like something that what happened with me for like a long period of time, like going on like 2 or 3 dates over a weekend.
Right,
like that was like hypomania. No, that there was nothing like that on these leaflets and stuff like that. Like I mentioned it before, like the black and white thinking of just like, it's either that or that. And it will get to the point where I will be so strong with what I believe, like I will happily just like I will happily like cut ties with whatever's going on at that time and like, not think anything of it.
Because there's no grey.
There's no grey area. It's like, no, it's that, it's not that. Fine, we're done. Like
Right.
That's the end of it. To never to like this, and that's like I never knew black and white thinking was part of like with bipolar, but actually the more I dived into it, because ultimately, like, I started to understand that bipolar is like extremely complex, but for me, something that's complex, it requires like how my brain works is something that's really, really complex, then requires like system and tools to operate. That's how I kind of look at it. And it's like, for me, it's like, well, there has to be specific tools out there, and there has to be specific systems and stuff like that can support the bipolar. And that's kind of what took me on this like ultimate goal of trying to live like the most stable life possible. But yeah, some of the symptoms of it, like there isn't like, I messaged my mentor the other day. He asked me a question, and it's cool. It's wicked to ask me a question because it was quite personal, and I'm glad he did. And it was about the episodes that I have. And it's like last week, the week before, it was like the ultimate example of like manic depression. I mean, what he replied in the text message was like, I prefer the rebrand of bipolar, which I do as well. But it's like, like the contrast where my episodes like change so quickly. And I do have that sometimes. It was like, literally, I was in an absolute meltdown.
This was just a couple of weeks
ago. Like absolute like meltdown, but at the back end of just being like highly elevated, like mood, like really elevated. But it was within like that. But,
well, I want to know about how your episodes present themselves, but something that you mentioned here.
Yeah.
The time in which you got diagnosed, it sounded as though that wasn't your first time in hospital.
No, it wasn't.
So has this been happening previously? Like,
yeah.
And when you say hospital, is that like a mental health hospital or is that a health hospital?
Yeah, so both mental health hospitals. So whenever I did present with like challenges, I'd just rather call it challenges, I'd always be like diagnosed with like depression, because this is what I try and get across to people. Like the the mental health team and the doctors can only diagnose what they see.
Yeah.
Like, you go have a broken leg, you got a broken leg, but like, you don't tell them about the ribs that are hurting as well, then you're never going to get a diagnosis there. Like, and they can only present what you see. So for me, it's like that's where it was. So I was going in and out of things like doctors and stuff like that, amongst obviously hiding the severity of it. But the first hospital stay, both hospital stays were quite condensed with each other, both mental health hospitals. The first one I was sectioned like voluntary after an overdose. I took a massive overdose of insulin. And then within a short period of time, I was sectioned again, but this time under the Mental Health Act.
Okay.
And I was sectioned at a different hospital.
Right.
And then it was the second time that it was so out in the open. In my head, it was. But also what happened is like shortly after that, because people started to like know what was going on, that was when I put up like this Facebook post and just explained what happened. And that was probably like the first time that I openly spoke about it. Wow. And like, instead of like, I didn't know because I didn't know what the feedback would be like. But the feedback was like, the response was just insane, which obviously it would be anyway. But at the time, you don't think that. So yeah, there's two major hospital stays.
And what was going on for you in your life at that time, Dean? Like, but both of them, like the first time. So the voluntary sectioning, was that sort of, they call it like a bit of a lie down. Yeah. Was it like, how long were you in there for?
It's not very long. It was a really short period of time because I was supposed to be sectioned for longer. But what happened was there was no spaces.
Yeah.
I got sectioned in a high security unit in London. And then after I had some more assessments done, they soon realised it wasn't the right place for me. It wasn't no one else, and I was given the option to go home because I wasn't detained under the Mental Health Act. The second time, like, the best way to look at it is like when you start to learn the system, you can just start to fool everyone.
Right.
So I know full well that if I tell the 3 doctors in front of me that I don't want to take my life, then they're going to let me out.
Yeah.
Like, if that's like, because they're the only questions that they can rely on, like, because ultimately they had no harm had to come to me just yet.
Yeah.
And I hadn't harmed anybody else. So when, on the second time I was sectioned, when I realised that I was able to like blag my way out, basically, that's where like the process started.
Wow.
So,
okay.
But,
then you got your diagnosis.
Yeah.
After the second one.
Yeah. So
right.
Shortly after the second time. Yeah.
And up until that point in your life, did you ever, like, looking back, can you ever think like, there were signs of it there, or was this like a complete, oh my God, never knew this?
I think like the more we've gone back to it now, the more I see signs. I actually think like the first sign was when I was in the army. Because like another thing I didn't realise about bipolar, it's like the sudden change of interest,
right?
Like with stuff, like, and people that know me well knows how quickly I'll go from one thing to another, and then I'll become so hyper fixated with it that I'll just do it. Like I'm doing it now at the minute with like the endurance stuff. Like everybody sees me doing it. Like I've literally done more endurance stuff this year than I should be doing, but because I've become hyper fixated with it. But then last year was high rocks.
Okay.
Couldn't care less about high rocks now. I don't care.
But can you recognise it at the time? Well, technically, you've just said it. But can you tell yourself, right, I'm hyperfixated on this and it's getting a bit too much or not?
I think I'm a bit more aware of it now. But it's kind of like, it's a bit of a power move, really, because I get good at something very quick.
Right.
But it also comes at a big risk. Like, and it always happens with hypermania. So hypermania for me tends to kick it off. Like I'll find a new interest and I will just become so obsessed with it. And then at some point it'll just be like, and that's going back what I was speaking to a therapist a little while back and was trying to sort of trace back, because obviously like psychomatic side of stuff and everything else, and look at your childhood trauma. And I had a good childhood. Like apart from my dad being away all the time, that was it. There's no trauma there. So we're trying to look back at where the trauma sort of like, obviously the army. But in my like last year of the army, I came back off tour and it was like, I had like no interest whatsoever in the job. I just wanted to go. I was just wanted out. Like literally, there was nothing. And I do think that was part of the bipolar. And I haven't dived into the science of it, but there's like there is an element of like trauma relation to kicking off the bipolar as such, if that's the way to put it. Can we like directly link the two? I don't think anybody can ever with anybody's diagnosis or prognosis. So, but I do think that's where it kind of like first started.
Right.
But yeah, I think like hypomania, I think people just thought it was me at the time. And like
just you as your personality?
Just me as a personality, because like the depression, like when I was really, really struggling, I was just still able to hide it. Like I was able to hide it really well, but some of the I look back now at some of the hypomanic episodes and I'm just like, fuck, they're wild. Like, but to other people at the time, I guess it was like personality, like the accumulation of debt, like all of the dates were going. Like I took a woman basically on a date to Amsterdam like one weekend, like because I thought at the time I just thought I was this like top dog bollocks, fucking never-ending money like guy, like all top brand new clothes, like going on dates, going into London, doing these things. All honesty, like that's not even me. Like I'd rather go and sit around a campfire and fucking like. I don't, So it is massively out of character. But because I'd been in the army and I came out, there wasn't really anything to like reflect that personality to. So the new circle of friends, I guess, that I created when I left the army, just to see it as me.
Yeah, they didn't know any different.
Yeah, and it wasn't until they got so severe when they were literally like, oh, okay, cool. Like this is where it's getting bad. So yeah, I think it's more being aware of it happening in the past. Right. But at the time, not all of them, no.
And how long does or did the hypomania last for? Is it different every time? Is it usually like a couple of days or?
I feel like for me, the hypomania for me lasts more than like depression. Like, so it can last like, I can have elevated moods, but then it can last like a few weeks. Doesn't necessarily mean like off the wall, but there's just telltale signs. Like if I'm in hypomania and you was to walk into like my room where I do like my coaching from, like a prime example of me hypomania would be literally bouncing to some music mix with my headphones, doing about 20 different tasks, just standing there in my boxers, and just like that'd be hypomania.
Okay. And
I'll be like doing something, and then I'll be in the kitchen, and I'll do something else, and then I'll be here, and then I'll do that, and then I'll do this, and then I'll be here, and then we'll be like, what people say about ADHD and stuff like that. It's not ADHD. Like that's hypomania. Like.
And when you're in it, when you've got those headphones on,
it's the best feeling.
Do you think I'm in hypomania right here, but I love it and I don't want to?
Sometimes I do. There is times I know, but then sometimes I'm not. Like I'm at home at the minute with my parents, so they would take care of my mum, and so like they click on quite quick. I always know when something's going on because I'll always get like, "Are you okay?" And then normally like because I'll go in and out of the door about 50,000 times, or like I'll be in the room, the door will be open, then this will happen, then I'll be out to the car, I'll be back in, and they kind of see those things happening a lot. Or I'll do stuff and it'll just be left there, like.
Okay.
Like
so, like finishing a task is difficult.
Yeah.
You've got so many going on.
Because there's so many going on. So it's like yeah, it's nothing dangerous. I'm not leaving like fucking ovens on and driving to exit. It's I suppose to some people, to people that know me now, it's probably quite amusing.
Right.
But for people that don't, they could see it quite strange. Like because especially if you've not seen it before. So it did happen like last year. Somebody close by to me that had never experienced hypomania, and I didn't realise that what I was going through at the time, I was going into a bit of like hypomania, and I can be like quite loud, very outspoken, and it's not really me. I'll say things that not that I don't mean. It's just there's just no like filter.
Yeah.
And I can be quite like fucking look at me, like I'm fucking best.
Yeah.
And
But that comes with it, doesn't it? That invincible kind of mindset. I can do that task and I'm going to learn and be the best at it. And that comes with ego as well.
Yeah, that's it. And and so for some people looking in, it can be quite, it can be quite, not so much intimidating, but it's hard to like guess, especially if you've been with, say you've been around someone that's been like stable, because I have long periods of stability. Like this isn't my constant life. Like I don't live like this every day. I live like there's a lot of it, but there's also a lot of stability as well. But I think if you're with somebody and they've only really seen stable you for a period of time, the moment they see the other you, it's very hard for them. Like, it's very hard to watch someone go through depression. And I'm talking actual depression. Like, I'm not talking low. I'm not talking like you're just feeling a bit low, moods down, which I get a lot, compared to, say, depression. I don't think that I've experienced like deep depression as often as what I experience like lows. I always have like deep depression around like the end of the year.
Okay.
Might be the weather change and everything else, but all my hospital administrations have been in the end of the year, and I tend to struggle more at the end of the year. Like December's a pretty brutal time. So yeah, I think it's hard. Yeah, going back to your question, it's like, I know sometimes, but I don't know all the time.
Yeah.
But it's nice. I like the hypomania, so get a lot done.
Right.
I'll drink more coffee as well. That's another thing. If I'm smashing cups of coffee, that's been linked to hypomania, and books as well. Like.
So how has your bipolar impacted those around you? So like, your family will notice it. What about friends, relationships? You mentioned dating and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think like if we did family first, it's like. I think my family are happy now that I'm stable and there's answers.
Right.
That's all they care about. I think like for them, all they want to do is just see me like happy, like typical family things. But it's pulled them apart, like in the past. Like, I was a grown man sat in a psychiatric hospital with your mum and your dad sat opposite you, and like they've just found out that you've tried to kill yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, it's definitely pulled them apart. Not like as in to separate them, but it's put some serious strain on them. Like it's pushed through. Like other family members, we've got quite a close circle, so it hasn't really affected them, to be fair. They're the type of family I wouldn't really give two shits if it did anyway. Yeah. But then like friendships, I've got such a small circle, but ultimately by choice, because I do have like this element of like a fear of hurting people.
Right.
And like I find it very difficult to let people in. And I am open with people when I let them in at the start, and it has happened quite recently, like within the last like 12 to 18 months, and I'm always upfront. Like, if you want to get involved with me, like, I like to think I'm a nice guy, and I'll do anything for everyone, and I really would. And if I could take someone else's pain away and have it myself with their own mental health, I'd fucking do it 100%. I wouldn't think twice about it. But I also do come with like levels of like complexity as well, like I do. And I am open with people like that at the start, especially if they've not experienced it. Like if you don't know what bipolar is, you're in for a little bit of an awakening, like with me, because you will experience it. And that does put strain on relationships a lot in the past. It's always been like a driving force, but ultimately as well, like I had a bit of therapy about it, but it's like maybe I'm not giving the person a chance to actually understand it. Instead, that I'm just like, right, it's gonna hurt them, cut.
Okay.
Or if I'm in like that mode of thinking, that kind of black and white thinking, so like if somebody doesn't understand that's part of it, they're just gonna see like I could be like, no, that's that.
Yeah.
And it can be like that could be like the penultimate end to a relationship. So relationships are hard, definitely, But ultimately, it's like I'm also completely and utterly like fine and happy to not be in one, which I think is really important because until I've addressed the relationship challenges, then it wouldn't necessarily be right for me to bring someone into a relationship if actually if actually it's a more of a behavioural thing on me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, don't get us wrong, I'm using dating apps and stuff at the minute, but I don't put on there I'm bipolar. I did do that once, I think it doesn't go down too well. But
Why do you think that is, Dean?
I just think people are scared of it. It's because it's perceived.
They don't understand it.
They don't understand it, and it's just perceived so bad. Like, some of the nicest people that I know, because obviously I know people with bipolar, have got bipolar because they know what it's like to fucking suffer.
Yeah.
Like, some of the nicest people that you meet are like the most caring and compassionate people that you meet are people that are going through depression or they've been through depression. Like, and that's kind of how I sort of see it. But with bipolar, I just think bipolar still carries it's getting better. Charities like Bipolar UK are doing a great job of like changing the perception of what people see bipolar. I think they're doing a really good job. But still, it's like, even with me, and I've had it for years, and I've said the word thousands of times, like bipolar doesn't bring, even the word itself, it's like, it doesn't sound very, there's nothing positive to it, to people. And I totally get it, because something happens in the news, not so much now, it's like, oh, it's mental health related, blah, blah, and then all of a sudden bipolar gets mentioned. So that's like, everyone's just related to that.
Yeah.
And then what they see on TV. I think one of the only, I think there's a film, isn't there, with Bradley Cooper, like The Playbook or something.
Not seen it, Dean.
It's got a bipolar film. It's so good, so good. It's a great film. I think it's called The Playbook. But literally, like, I watch that and I'm just like, holy shit, like, that's a bit like my life. But yeah, I think like relationships are hard. But ultimately, like, it's my responsibility as well. Like, it's my responsibility to educate like the person I'm involved with. It's my responsibility to be open as much as I can. Like, if I'm struggling or if I'm in hypomania or something like that. Like, a lot of, because what I say that I live a stable life now. So my like way of being stable is not being cured. It's being it's being self-aware. It's understanding episodes, managing episodes better. That's stability.
Right.
That's my version of stability. People's perception of stability is like being cured, that you're never going to get it. I've got this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Fucking I know I have. But it is also getting better and better and better in places. Don't get us wrong. There's times when I don't wish I had it. When I literally do not wish I had it. Like, and the last thing I want to have is bipolar in a depressive episode, because they're fucking hell. Like, they're just absolute hell. Like, the moment I know that it's coming, or I feel like I'm in that place, like the battle is on.
And can you sense it when it starts to come on, or?
It's like a filter. Like, it's like the way I'd sort of describe depression is, it's like a filter. Like, everything becomes heavy, but normally it's when people are like, I get quite aggy and people start to get on me a little bit. I kind of know that I'm getting towards that bit. But then also, like, not being around people, that's another, like, I know then I'm like, okay, what do I need to address here?
What, like self-isolating kind of?
Yeah, self-isolating. I'll avoid people. I'll
Right.
avoid eye contact. Like, so to look at it as like an example, when I was working out of a gym recently, I would like do my best to leave before everyone came, so I didn't have to see them.
Right.
That's like low. That's like me being in a low and then going to depression. Like, when I'm in low depression, I can still go and exercise. Like, a lot of the time. Like, so people, it's one of the only things that I probably still can do, really. But that's where it would be happening. Like, I do know it's happening. How far it goes is like, it's just hard to explain like what I do next, like in terms of it. Like, sometimes people notice before me. Sometimes I just battle it out. Like,
what, as in like put on a front that you're not
feeling like
that?
Yeah,
or?
like I got asked this question. I got asked this question yesterday. One of the other part of the mentoring, and like he actually asked me, "It's like, you know, like, how often do you hide it?" And ironically, I put up a post today about communicating and not hiding it. But like, I think I've just become good at telling people what they need to be told now. Right. Instead of hiding it because I didn't want people to know I'm struggling, now I hide it because I know I can cope and deal with that low. So I don't need to tell people, if that makes sense. Yeah. I think I've become quite good at it like that. But then sometimes that it gets so far and like it just gets a bit too deep and is that
what's happened previously when there's been sort of hospital admissions?
Yeah, 100%. And I don't want to like it's that old sort of saying of like I still hold that like I think I still hold that like example of stigma still like that I have to be okay. Like I've got a daughter and I'm trying to rebuild another job back up after losing one like 18 months ago. So in my head, it's like I always think that I have to be doing this. Like I'm having to prove it wrong all the time. Like I'm so fucking hard on myself. Like I'll batter myself. I'll do it straight after this. I'll drive back and I'll be like, and everyone does it after a podcast. It'll be like,
every single guest.
Everyone does it. It's like and it's like, what did I say there? What did I do there? And I'll just pound myself. But kind of like going back to what you said, it's like. I won't tell people at an instant. I don't do it like I'm struggling today, so I'm like, oh yeah, I'm struggling. I'll kind of pick and choose it. But ultimately, I've not always become that good at it because sometimes it becomes a little bit too late and I've left it too long.
Right.
But people tend to know. Like I go quiet, like my head would be down. People probably know more than I do.
The people that know you.
Yeah. Like at the minute, I'm absolutely fine. Like I'm.
So on the hypomania depression, you right now today, where are you?
I'm just in like my stability.
State, so
yeah,
stability.
I'm a bit. Yeah, I kind of like last week I had like because I can go for periods of time where what I would just class as like stability, like everyday life stuff, and that's the thing about bipolar. You have to really start figuring out what is fucking life and what is bipolar because otherwise it will just torment you for your whole life. And also it's like bipolar isn't a get out of jail free card for me. It's like I'm an adult. Like I take responsibility. Like if I've been a dick, I can't like, and it's not the bipolar. That's me being a dick. Like if I've said something out of context, then like I might have been a little bit hyper, but ultimately I still did it. It's my responsibility.
Wow.
But yeah, I do have like long periods of time stability. But yeah, I think like if you used to ask us last week, it was just different ball game last week.
So how did you get yourself out of it last week? What happened?
I just had to hit my non-negotiables, like because what happens is you. So basically how one of those days happened was it would be, I would do something that needed to be done, and then I'll get back into bed.
Okay.
But people don't see all this. They don't see all of they don't see this like that happens for us. Like I like you see us on social media, you see videos, you see training, you see all these things. Like yeah, of course, social media you can make people believe what the fuck you want on social media. Like it's too easy on social media. People have watched videos of me training, and I'll be really honest. Like, and if I lose like followers in business, but I'm being real. Like. People would have watched videos of me when all I actually did at the gym was just train and exercise, and I didn't film myself. I didn't do anything because I just felt like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
So I just posted a video from like a month ago.
But you're a human,
But I'm a human being. Yeah, exactly. And that's how I function.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So like last week, right, I knew it was because my sleep was getting less and less and less. And like, people are like, you sure you're right? You sure you're right? And what we've realised now is some of my hypomania is triggered by stress.
Okay.
And something did happen at that time that involved the gym. But it wasn't mega, but it just changed the whole dynamic. Like it changed the course of, theoretically, it kind of changed the direction of my life a little bit.
Right.
Not like a dramatic way, like worth any Netflix series over, but ultimately it changed the direction of it, and I think that probably created a bit of a like up and down period of time. But yeah, like I get up, I do like non-negotiable, And like when I'm in a low, I dread everything. Like if I've got a call with a client, I'm dreading it.
Right.
To the point where I'm like torturing myself about it. I'm like, right, I've got to get on the phone, or I've got to do this. So I have like the non-negotiables. Like I post every day. That's my non-negotiable, because what it does is it also shows me that it's not in control, and you can still have things going forward. So for me, like I hit my non-negotiables. Like I post on social media, I post every single day.
And is that a grid post, story, both?
So like it'd be a grid post or story. Like if you look at my phone in edits, I've got probably about 300 reels.
Wow.
Like,
waiting to go.
They can go up at any time, or recycle them. And that's what I'll do sometimes. So last week I did it last week. I recycled one because I couldn't make one.
Because you were in such a low.
Like the last thing I wanted to do was just do that. And same for people. And then it'd be like things like appetite, like the effort to do stuff. Like, it's so hard to explain because I'm somebody that's so active. Like you can never do me for being lazy. I'm the complete opposite to lazy. Like there is nothing lazy about me. But like when a low hits, it's even harder to like take on the chin, because it's like, I don't like the word motivation. Because I don't see motivation as a feeling, I see it as an act of doing. So the act of doing something when you're in like a low, it's like something's physically trying to stop you. Like it's so hard to do stuff. Like even in some of my like biggest lows, just go like this is why people suffer with depression. They struggle with hygiene, because for someone that's never ever had depression, you'll never understand this. You'll never get it. The effort that it feels like it takes to go and do that, to go and brush your teeth, or to go and have a shower is so extreme. All you want to do is just curl up in a ball and just lay in bed.
I am so grateful to you for saying this exact thing, because if we look at stigma and generic, that's what a person with autism looks like. That's what a person with bipolar, that's a person with personality disorder. Says who?
Yeah.
But for somebody like you, where your whole mantra and your online business and your presence is fitness and looking after yourself, and the topic that you're sharing here, when you are in a low, you still struggle with those things. So it's not it's not a lazy person with bipolar that struggles with that, because you're sharing here, you're not a lazy person. However, even somebody with the kind of mantra that you have, look after yourself, work hard, endurance, fitness, you still get those days. Yeah,
100%. Right, and they do happen. Like that's the most recent one, and it is, and unless you go through depression, you will never. And same thing as if you go through suicide, as in I see suicide as its own illness. I have a different outlook to how people do around suicide. But for me, it's like, if you've never gone through it, you will never ever understand it. And it's exactly the same for me, that somebody's going through, let's say, terminal illness. How could I possibly ever relate to and understand what that person's going through? Like, how could I ever understand what someone's going through? Like, my mum has MS, like severely, like it's slowly like killing her. I have no idea what it's like. Not at all. So when she describes the pain, how could I possibly know what that pain's like? And it's exactly the same for everything else. So for people that, when you say about that, like to talk about depression, it's like, to just do the most simplest of tasks is like the most difficult thing. But it's also really hard it's like it becomes physical. It's like a physical thing is stopping you from doing it. And and like I'm like I said, I'm far from lazy. I go and run ultras and shit. Like I train at 4:00 in the morning. Like I run a business to the best I can. Like,
but it still gets you when it's a low.
Yeah. If a low gets you, like if a low gets us, it'll get you. Yeah, it's hard. Like it's fucking graft. Hard work. Like I always say, I'll say those words to me sometimes. Like if I'm coming into a low, or like I've got like these words that I say to myself, and it's like the battle is on. Like let's go, right?
Wow.
That's how it is. Like, and I do think you have to be like, you do have to be more resilient than others with something like bipolar. But you have to develop that. You have to learn that. I think, like, you have to.
And it's a shame that you have to, and that there isn't the support out there. And I know Bipolar UK and stuff like that, but those clinicians that you were sat with, here's a leaflet, D, and we're giving you a diagnosis.
Yeah.
Was there and is there medication that you take? Are you supported that way?
Yeah, I've always been on medication. I've had some wild times on medication. I've tried all sorts. So at the minute I'm on the Motrine.
Right.
I've been on it for a while. And then I was having like rapid cycling bipolar.
Yeah.
So they now put me on, I'll never say it, aripiprazole.
Okay.
Aripiprazole. I'm not doing it no justice.
Do you know what? I mean, I'm not going to correct you because I'm not confident enough, but
I think that's right.
Yeah, I think it is, but we might be wrong.
But that's been a game changer.
Okay.
Because it's just leveled out the up and down kind of side of it. But that's the thing about bipolar is like when it comes to medication, I'm pro-choice, right? If you choose to take it, you choose to take it. If you choose not to, you choose not to. And no side of the fence should be able to comment on each other.
Okay.
That's how I see medication, because I just think that if you're choosing not to take medication for whatever reason, beliefs, religious, whatever it is, that's fine. Like, I respect that totally. But I'm not in a position to tell you to take medication. And it's the same the other way around. Like, that's how I see it, because I do think it's pro-choice. But ultimately, what I see with medication is it's one, it can be a temporary thing that just gives you breathing space. It's not permanent. It just gives you a little bit of breathing space just to like get your shit together. That's one use of medication. That's how I see it. And the other one is to enable you to function and live a stable life, what it does with me. So I'm for medication. Like, medication is what enables me to be able to be a better dad, like a son, if that's the case, be able to run the work that I do and build what I can and do what I do and train people and coach people. And it gives me some form of like, it gives me a better quality life. And without it, I definitely wouldn't have that quality, like, far from it. But with the medication, with bipolar, it's also about finding what's going to level you out. Like, and I've learned that, and I was listening to a podcast a little while back, and like the way that the doctor was explaining it was like trying to even out these two jars. Like, and he's just like, what we're trying to do is get them level. And at the minute, some people are like, one's more full than the other. Yeah. And the way he explained it, I was like, okay. And that's where I'm slowly getting at now. So instead of being like here or there, we're slowly getting to, and that's what medication does. That's my perception of it. It's like trying to balance. So just what they put you on straight away at the start, that doesn't mean that's what you're going to be on in 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah. Because your body will get used to it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why you will, and I'm sure you have got medication reviews to see how it is going. Yeah. Are you leveling out, or is it going one way or the other? And that's why things constantly changing.
I have them quite often, and the same for sleeping. Like, because my sleep is like, it's madness. Like, I don't sleep much as it is, but if I'm on hypomania, I'll get like a couple of hours. I'll get a couple of hours sleep a night, if that. So I'll have sleeping tablets as well, but some of them you can only have for certain periods of time. But I think, like, somebody asked us, like, you know, how do you feel about taking medication for the rest of your life? And it's like, no, it doesn't even cross my mind.
Sounds as though it's giving you a life.
Yeah, 100%. Because I know what's happened when I've come off meds, because I've come off meds in the past.
Right. And
it's not good. Like, so for me, it's like, it gives me that like ultimate stability. I gave a talk once, and the lady said that she got out of depression because of she found God. And if that's what got her out of depression, like, I totally support that. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it, because it's a different belief. Like, I don't have that belief as such. but ultimately that's what works for her,
Yeah.
and I think that's incredible, and for her that's amazing. So I support that. So I just see everything as like the pro-choice of what's right for you is right for you.
And you're in the process of figuring things out, like you have been for a long time.
Yeah, still now. Yeah.
But and every day is a school day essentially. But what I really respect about you, Dean, is you've gone, right, I've been given this with probably not that much support from the team around me. I'm going to do my own research and I'm going to find what works for me. You may not get it right every time, but you're still a human being, and I don't want you to forget that either.
Yeah.
You touched on a little bit. I know that you do like talks and we've said already that you speak openly. You touched on suicide and your thoughts behind it.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I felt like I needed to understand it, but also I felt like people that haven't gone through it don't understand it. And I think the more you understand something like suicide, I think people then start to understand why people do it to a degree.
Right.
That was my thought process around it. So for me, it's like, and I kind of took away, I saw a post a long time ago that kind of uses this like analogy of it, and that's where I drew it from. So this isn't just mine, this is someone else's as well. And it's like, I see suicide as it's a separate illness.
Okay.
It's like final stages of depression. So it's left depression, it's now suicide. Because for me, suicide consumed my life. Like, I thought about it every single moment I woke up until I go to bed. Like, I'd be driving my car and I'd like go past a tree and I'd be like, hang myself there. Like, it consumes your whole life. That's what it was like for me. And I know there's no doubt that people's experiences are all different, but it's like, it just takes a complete hold of you. Right. So I just describe it as like a completely separate like entity itself. And it's its own illness, and illnesses need to be treated the way illnesses need to be treated with the correct treatment.
Yeah.
And I think that's like my way of like looking at it and understanding it, because it is become like it's like another filter. It's like the depression filter's gone on, and then the next one is like final stages is suicide. Yeah. It's like the terminal side of it, minus that you can get out of it, like, and you can get help. But I think when like suicide, when suicide set itself in, you're up against it, like that. You are up against that, like way more than depression.
And how did you get yourself out of it? That specific time that you're talking about, what happened? I
was on my way to do it, and that was the second time I spoke about before, when I was sectioned under the Mental Health Act. I was on the way to do it. And I was pulled over by the police, like on the side of the road, basically. And then that's where I was like sectioned.
Right.
From there, so because that morning I'd got like, I remember that, like, I'll go into it in good detail. I remember it plain as day. So I like, yeah. So I sat. I've never actually spoken about this bit, actually, to be fair. So
do you feel okay too?
Yeah. So I remember I was at home and I sat on the kitchen floor. It's the first time I've ever said this part of it. I sat on the kitchen floor, I had a knife, and then my mum and dad came down, and I heard them come down, and I rushed out the house. And then when I rushed out the house, that's when they must have rung a few alarm bells for them. And then, yeah, because I was just sat on the floor, like I was just sat on the floor in a mess with a knife. And then I went to home base. And when I went to home base, I actually bought stuff to make it look like I wasn't doing what I was going to do.
Right.
Like, I can even remember the lady behind the desk, behind the till, because I was just, in my head, it's like, I'll either get stopped if it's so obvious, or imagine that lady finding out she served me something that I went and did. So for me, it was like, that was my thought processes at the time. So I bought like some like little garden bits to go with it as well, like everything that I had. And then, yeah, I was basically, what I didn't realise, because I was classed as a high risk, that whenever somebody like phoned me, obviously it answered, it flagged up, and then they were able to like track me down. And I remember like driving, and like I just looked in like the wing mirror, and then the police went past, and then I looked in the rear view mirror, sorry, and then I saw the light, and the light came on, and when it pulled me over, you know, he looked in like the footwell and was just like, "Are you Dean?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Come on, mate." And then I just sat by the side of the road, just against my car, just fucking crying. And then like loads of other police came, and I remember like plain as day because it was like a traffic policeman came as well, and he was like, "We need to breathalyze him." And the policeman that pulled me over, who'd been talking to me, and I think he was ex-4. I don't know. There's just something about him, but he basically replied to the traffic policeman and said, "No, you don't. I think he's got enough on his plate to deal with." And I like heard that, and for me it was like, fuck. Like people do give a shit, but yeah. And then when I was detained as such, I just remember like sitting. Like just sat in the back of the police car, just sort of like staring out the window. Then I was taken to Whitecliff. Whitecliff used to be Tyndall, but it's in Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire. And then that was my thought process. But that's where it all led. Like the hospital stays all led onto everything else. Right. Like figuring out why. Like I'm a big believer of like why. Like why. Like what's your why? Like I find it with people all the time. Like mine was my daughter, but one of the nurses that I spoke to at the time was so good. Like he'd worked with veterans, but he was so good at what he did. He was able to change like my belief of what I've meant to my daughter, and that all these little things all fall in. And that so actually like being sectioned and going to hospital was a good thing. Like because if it didn't, then it changed the whole course of the events. The first one was a bit different, but they all tied in with each other. Like,
and at that time when you got pulled over, you didn't have your diagnosis yet, did you? Because you got it at the end of the second stay.
So I got it at the end. So I got it basically like shortly after that stay. Yeah. Wow. So I hadn't been diagnosed. It was always just PTSD and depression.
I heard something once, and tell me if you can relate to this as well. I think it was Jess actually who came on my podcast. She said people with bipolar often get misdiagnosed with depression because you go to the doctor when you're feeling sad, but you don't go to the doctor when you're feeling great. Yeah. So all they see on your notes is, oh, they're sad here, they're sad, they're low. Yeah. Whereas the other bit, it's almost forgotten about a little bit, or it's not seen.
Yeah, that's exactly, so what I was saying similar earlier on, I was saying about it in the first half, it's like, like I spoke about the leg, like you go have a broken leg, but you don't tell them about the ribs and stuff like that. They'll go,
the happiness against the sadness.
So like I'd always go with like depression and stuff like that, and I wouldn't go a lot with it, but I remember like with combat stress and stuff like that, which is like a veterans services, and even with like I just remember sitting with like doctors at that time, and it was like, right, we'll put on antidepressants, PTSD, like depression, we'll treat you for that, but then I'm never ever gonna go like there was only like one or two times when when I was arrested a couple of times, being a bit of a dick, but ultimately I was in hypomania as well. Like, and it's not an excuse for what I did. Like, I did what I did. Like, I knew what I was doing. But looking back, it's like someone should have saw that sign as well, because it was all kind of like tied in. Yeah. Like, that was me behaving erratically. So yeah, but make mistakes there.
Do you know what I really like about you is your accountability? And I think I've already said it, but the ability to be open and honest. You know, men talking is something which is a lot rarer than it should be. Yeah. So when I found your social media and I was like, oh, he'd be someone I really want to speak to. So I'm so grateful that you are so open, but you do have accountability too. Right, is this hypomania? Is this just me being a dick? Is this that I'm really, really low? Like, and it's you recognizing how do I even spot the difference? But that accountability to go, no, I was doing that, but I knew what I was doing. Yeah. Like, I respect you and I rate you for it, Dean. I really do.
I appreciate it. It's important.
I have gone out to some of my listeners So I shared a picture of you. I blurred your face out, but it was pretty obvious who it was, especially because you do know like people from this area and a lot of my followers anyway. And some of my followers have asked the question, so I've got 2 questions for you. Do you feel you ever get judged as a male talking about mental health?
Yeah, of course. Like, we're never going to get past that.
Right.
I say never, like it's a negative. I just think judgment's an important thing, right? We're supposed to have judgment. Judgment keeps us safe. And you can only judge on what you know and you believe. Like, so for me, it's like, you're never going to get past judgment. What we need to get past is changing people's belief, and then their judgment will change. That's how I see it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that.
That's how I see it. I think judgment's good. I think also guys judge for mainly because of they don't want to, like, if guys are struggling, I feel like they don't want to they're not in the position to go, yeah, I need help.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that judgment's good. I think judgment's good. Like, I like that I'm judged, because I'll prove every single person wrong. That's the thing. Like, I get all, like,
so you see it as more like motivation, or? Yeah,
to a degree, because it's like, I don't look like the typical person that suffers and that's suffered, gone through what I've gone through, and still openly talks about mental health, like, and stuff like that. Like, talk about judgment. I used to do a thing when I used to do talks with the kids, and used to get them to, like, write down what their first perception of me was, like, when they first saw me, and then after I did a talk, I get them to write again.
Oh, that's great. What? But the contrast in the answers.
Yeah. I say kids, they're a little bit older. It's for a charity. But yeah, ultimately, like, judgment's good, and it does happen. But I don't. Like I said, I don't think we're ever going to get past judgment. I think we're trying to stop people judging people and seeing that as the big negative, when actually it's further back than that. Like, I think it's more belief driven. Like, we need judgment. Keeps us safe. And you can only judge from your own past experience, like, really.
Great answer. Okay, and then another one. I suffer with bipolar, and I followed you for a while. How do you manage your low episodes, and what brings you out of it?
So, I don't look at it as bringing myself out of it, because I feel like, it's a good question. Because I feel like that will take a lot of energy to go up against something that's running its course. Like, if I'm in a low, like, do I just need to let it run?
Okay.
And do I have to, like, but ultimately, I always have non-negotiables, like, and that's a promise to myself, because we live in, like, sensory overload, right? So the way I see it is we think we have all these things we've got to do. We think we have to reply to everybody. We think we have to go and do the washing up at that one time. We feel like we have to go and put this washing out. We feel like we have to answer to this person. We feel like we have to do this. Like, we've created these, like, long lists. And whenever I'm in a low, one of the first things that I'm looking at is, like, what the fuck do I actually need to do?
Right.
Like, really, what matters?
Basics.
What matters? Like, exactly. Like, yeah. And then the next thing for me, and I've always done this when I'm in a low, is it is literally one thing at a time. Like, I micromanage my day to the point where it's like, right, go clean your teeth. Like, okay, wicked. Like, and then the next one is, like, as long as I'm hitting my non-negotiables, like, not beating myself up no more. I'm still learning that now. That takes time. But yeah, like, and then my non-negotiables, like I spoke about before, like, you can still do stuff that will move you forward when you're in a low, right? And that thing for you is very different to me.
Right.
Like,
so it's specific to the person.
Yeah, it could quite literally be, if you're in that severe of a low of cleaning your teeth, that's fucking huge progress for somebody.
Yeah.
Like, somebody that has debilitating depression, like a debilitating low, just going and cleaning your teeth is like a huge win. So yeah, I have, like, the non-negotiables, but I don't think I try and pull myself out of it. I think if you're looking at it like that mindset, I think you might, the way that I would see that, if I looked at it that mindset, I think it would cost me more energy, because I'd get frustrated that I'm not able to do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think I would actually just change, like whoever that is, whoever's asked it is a great question, and I think loads of people have asked that question, but I think whoever's asked that question needs to ask themselves why are they asking that question.
Okay.
Themselves,
right.
like, and then actually being like, well, can I pull myself out of it, or do I need to be looking at like other options? Because how much energy is it costing me how much frustration am I getting trying to make myself feel better? When actually, does it just need to run its course?
Run its course.
And sometimes the littlest thing can spark something else. Like I've had days where I felt low, and then before I know it, by the end of the day, I'm like, oh fuck, I've actually like the day's just gone on as normal, really. Like so, yeah, I think it's a good question, but definitely don't waste it. Yeah,
Very
don't waste
answer.
energy trying to get out of it. Put the energy into stuff that you can move. There's always something you can do. Even if you put your fucking socks on.
Okay.
There's always something.
Thank you. So now that you've answered those listeners' questions, we are at the end of our podcast today.
Goes quick, doesn't it?
It does go quick.
Flies
How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, all right, actually. Like, it's always a hard one because you think you know what you want to say, but you can't always like pre-plan stuff like that. But I felt fine. I like to like. I don't know what your general listeners are for if it's female or male on this podcast, but I always like to take opportunities to talk on both, because if they say there's more females listening here, then they've got a husband
it's about 60-40.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. So for me, it's like I always try and sort of serve both sides, because it's like if you're a woman and your other half's got bipolar and he's undiagnosed, like fucking you're up against it, man. Like, I feel for you. It's fucking hard work. So if you can listen to somebody like me that talks about it and so on, then hopefully it gives you a bit of like consolidation or whatever you want to call it, that person can get help and stuff like that. And then on the other side, guys just want to find someone to relate to.
Yeah.
Most guys don't want to talk, do they? Like, let's face it.
Well, that's why I'm so grateful to you for providing that other sort of angle on your struggles, but how it impacts you, because I know it impacts everybody differently.
Of course, yeah, 100%.
But you've been an absolute pleasure to talk to.
Thank
because
you.
you've made me see it from yet another lens, and I'm like, oh right, yeah, okay. And I know that my listeners will really appreciate that as well. So, how do people find you online, Dean?
So yeah, it's Instagram, Dean Performance Coach, or Dean Online Performance Coach, but it's all going to be changing soon because I'm going for a rebrand. But yeah, it
not
just,
a hypomania rebrand.
No, that's happened in the past. That's another story. Like, yeah, that's happened a few times. No, this one is Stability rebrand. But yeah, that's basically it for now. Everything else is like in the back doors, not going live just yet. So things like YouTube and everything like that, that's not on there. It's just Instagram.
So Dean,
right now.
Online Fitness Coach.
Online Performance Coach.
Online Performance
Instagram,
Coach.
yeah.
Well, what we'll do is, this will go out in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
The minute that your socials change, you let me know,
yeah, of course,
and I can just change the stuff on the show notes.
I don't think it'll be any time soon.
Okay.
Okay.
So they can find you online. I'll also put the link to Bipolar UK.
That's always 100%. That's always like I like when people do that, but yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
It's good. They offer some great stuff for people, like resources and things like that. Like they're working tirelessly to change the way people are looking at bipolar. 100%. They're doing great.
And in terms of you, like what's next for you? Just keep your non-negotiables moving with your business. Yeah,
it's just to be able to do, like, it's just to live a stable life.
Yeah.
Like, that's my ultimate goal. Like, I'm not, like, it's such a cliche, but as long as I'm able to do what I want to do, and I'm not back where I was in 2017 and 18, and I'm able to be a dad, and I'm able to do these things, and like I don't have to think about Twitch stresses that can be fixed, and like, as long as I've got that, like, I'm happy. Right. I couldn't give a shit about six figures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't excite. It'd probably fucking send me into hypomania anyway if I was rich. So yeah, that's it.
And on that note, Dean, thank you very, very much.